Hi, everyone. Welcome to the latest episode of the Winning Edge podcast. As always, I am Rick and John. How are you doing, mate?
I'm good. Very busy. Coming at you from home today. I've not gone into work, so trying to have a quieter day.
Beautiful. And we'll throw this out there and we'll get straight into it. A little apologies and this is more from me than from John, because we're behind schedule, aren't we? We're a week behind because I had the man flu. I had the man flu, and it's a serious thing.
It's pretty fucking serious shit. So, anyone who knows, any male will understand that man flu's kind of, it's touch and go. So, I'm with you. You had my sympathy.
It's a serious thing. I've not been in a good place. I've been sneezing and I've been sneezing and that's about it. But but here we are. We're a week behind. Hope you're good, mate. Everything going good in sunny LA?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. And it is sunny, which is always a bonus. So I can't complain.
Beautiful. So let's get stuck in then, mate. Fury and Ngannou. What the fuck went on there?
Well, I mean, like you said, look, we're a little behind. Everyone knows what happened. We talked about our predictions and what we thought a few weeks ago now. And we were both probably as far wrong as we could have been. I mean,
we both
probably like you,
for years.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know how we could both have slightly different opinions and still both be wrong.
Both get it wrong, yeah.
But no, I mean, it's fucking hell. I mean, like I said, you know my opinion. Most people know my opinion on what I wanted to see, and not to take any shine off the UFC or anything, but I was hoping that boxing would come out a winner, just as I would if it was the other way around. I would want a UFC guy, MMA, to wipe the floor with a boxer and just show that these are two very different sports. And yeah, that didn't fucking happen. So, everyone can talk about the whys and, did Fury prepare himself well enough? Did he think it was going to be a walk in the park? I mean, you've heard the little bits afterwards where, when they touched gloves, Fury was like laughing and joking and being like, I'm going to take you to school now. And that just didn't fucking happen. I think Ngannou saw it as his, in his world, this was his fucking world title fucking shot, whatever it was, even though it wasn't for the belts. He took it very seriously, clearly. He had a game plan, which he stuck to very well for the first, at least for the first, what seemed like half of the fight. He did lose it a little bit as time went on, but his game plan was fucking sound. He looked to counter. And he landed one fucking great counter and Fury went over. And I think that was probably the wake-up call for Fury. And if anything, I would say, again, Fury just looked fucking frustrated. He looked like he was in some ways trying too hard. He got himself frustrated. After a few rounds, he got himself into it. It was clear that he was sat in the corner being a little bit like, what the fuck have I got myself into here? Like, this guy's not on my level, and yet I'm having a hard time with him. And that's how the whole fight looked to me. I did the hype, and when you're watching it at the time, I felt like Ngannou got robbed when they gave the score out. Having watched it again, you're like, okay, Fury did land more shots. He was being more the aggressor, but it was fucking close. Like, I think the numbers were like Fury landed 10 more punches in the whole fight, but Ngannou got the knockdown, and you're a bit like, that fucking evens it out. I mean, you could even, if you didn't want to give it either of them, you could have even given that a draw. But I don't know. Like, fuck knows what happened. I don't know whether Fury's done. Was Fury not as good as everyone thought he was? I mean, I have always had my suspicions that Wilder is not quite as good as everyone thinks he is. He has got that big knockout punch. And those fights escalated Fury way more. Because then if you look at the other people that Fury's beat, it's a few of the Brits that are not at world title level, right? So I don't know. It just begs a ton of questions. But whether he's going to retire or he's going to get this Usyk fight done and redeem himself a little bit, smash Usyk, make that look easy, retire would be my fucking way. I think he should go, because there's not much left out for him after Usyk. Like, unless they do the Joshua fight. But I don't know how much he really wants to do all that after this.
Do you think he beats?
What about you? What do you think?
Well, just answer that before.
I mean,
Yeah,
I mean, I think he should. It really depends. I mean, again, you're going to read too much into what the commentators and whatnot were saying. I mean, Fury couldn't lays weight all over Ngannou, and Ngannou was as strong, if not stronger. That thing that Fury has on most of the other heavyweights, where he leans on them, even Wilder's like 220, 225, 230. He's not a heavyweight. So he uses his weight at 270 on everybody else. Well, him and Ngannou were the same weight, and Ngannou is arguably stronger and comes from a grappling background where you're not going to out-clinch him. And you could see Fury getting frustrated because Fury did say, part of his game plan was, the boxing clinch is very different, and I'm gonna tag him when Ngannou comes in, and he couldn't do it. So going off just the weight and the size, I don't see how Usyk gets to Fury and knocks him out. Which would be the simplest path to a clear victory. And then if it comes down to points, who's going to land the most shots? Can Fury tire Usyk out with his weight early on, and then start peppering him on points and get a points win? I don't know. It's not. Before the Ngannou fight, I would have said Fury will win it fairly comfortably, just because of the size difference. Usyk's so short, and whilst he chopped Joshua down a little bit, Fury's another animal height-wise and weight-wise. So that I think Fury should still win that comfortably, and I think the Ngannou fight certainly shouldn't put Fury off getting in there with Usyk and kind of showing what he actually can do, and then usually he'll probably come out with something to say, look, the Ngannou fight was this, this, and this. I've just shown you what I can really do, and then it's all forgotten. But we'll see. I mean, straight away, it was supposed to be December, and now it's Feb. So, he came out of that Ngannou fight going, fuck that, I'm not jumping in too much time. I need to prepare. So something's gone wrong with Fury's, in his camp, in the setup, whether he took it seriously. Something went wrong. I don't know what, but something was not right. But fair play to Ngannou. That's not to say that Ngannou did not potentially show that, okay, maybe all these boxers are not quite the
absolutely
the difference we thought. I don't know. I thought that fight was going to settle it, and I'm disappointed it didn't. It would be my fucking take on it, because I don't want to keep seeing these fights just to try and prove it. Like, I thought that was going to be the one and we could all fucking move on, but it didn't quite turn out like that.
And another piece of learning from that night was, don't listen to me and you about boxing predictions, right?
Fucking hell. This is why I don't gamble on sport, because
don't put money on our predictions. Fucking hell.
No, fucking I sit there with the most logical thought process for an outcome, and then go, but I just think the other guy might win it, and then I'm usually fucking wrong. So, but that's why sport's so fucking good, right? That's the whole thing. Like, you want to be. You want the shocks, you want the surprises, you want it didn't quite go the way we all thought. There's nothing more disappointing when something's set up and it looks like it's going to be a landslide, and then it actually is, and you're a bit like, okay, well, that was what we thought it was going to be, but
absolutely. I've got nothing to add there, mate. I think you've covered it. I think it is what it is. There's still a load of questions, and disappointing, but I suppose that kind of moves us on, really, because ultimately it's a business, isn't it? And that's kind of where we're going to go today with our talk, isn't it? And our conversation.
Well, I think, I mean, from the business point of view, it's only, and you touched on it a lot the week after. I was watching a lot of your social media stuff and stories from the business side of, like, Ngannou backing himself. And what it takes, first of all, what it takes to do that. And then Ngannou was always in a sort of a semi-win-win situation. If he went in there and performed well, the stuff that now is going to come off the back of it, you've got Dana White softening a little bit his stance on him going back to the UFC one day at some point, whereas that was never going to be possible by the sounds of things. He's got his PFL contract, but now they've just gone and, give him I think the WBC have gone and ranked him in the top 10, So there's big boxing fights out there for him.
Yeah,
and
money,
these
yeah,
big $1 million fights, you go the distance, and arguably, people are arguing the result with the undisputed champion, and he doesn't have to go back and fight for next to nothing. He can fight people in the top 10, and even just a couple more boxing fights, that he's going to get paid millions, right? And the chances of what the boxers could earn, it has got Wilder and people like Joshua's fucking interest. They're like, this could be an easy fight for me, and I could make millions, and you've got all the hype around it. So from that point of view, I think Ngannou, fucking hell, that whole, when everyone was like, you fucked right up leaving the UFC, he obviously thought differently, and it's nice to see something like that pan out.
It's an interesting dynamic now, isn't it? And this sort of maybe lends us into where we're going to go. But what's happened now is he's in charge of his own business now, isn't he? He can call the shots. He can make the decisions. He's got options now. He's essentially become, overnight, he's gone from being a big name in the UFC to a big name in global sport overnight.
Yeah.
Right? People know who he is now, and all of a sudden, not saying people didn't know who he is anyway, but you get non-UFC fans.
No,
now,
but it's opened up, like you said last time we spoke. Yeah, I mean, it's opened up a whole new audience to this guy, right? And it's now become global across multiple sports, but also, depending on what he does next and how he can keep, his own, I guess, business hype train going, and what he announces he's going to do next will be crucial. I think off the back of this, is he just going to, what's the next fight? How is he going to create excitement in the PFL? Is he just going to go in and fight someone out of their top 10, get an easy win and build himself up there? Or is he going to go, right, okay, I need another marquee name now. I need to somehow generate a marquee fight, whether it's in MMA or whether it's in boxing, to keep everyone interested.
Yeah.
And then this is where the business comes in. This is why boxing is so frustrating compared to the UFC, because now he is a business. Now his next move is crucial, because he's done all that work off the back of Fury, and it could all be fucking gone. If he goes in even against, like, they were talking about someone like Joseph Parker, let's say, as his next heavyweight fight, right? Someone who's got a decent record, can bang a bit, not classed anywhere near in the same level as Fury, but depending on the reason that the Fury fight panned out the way it did, if Ngannou goes into that fight and gets banged out by Parker in a couple of rounds, and everyone's like, okay, maybe he wasn't quite what we thought he was. You can always go back to MMA, but all of a sudden, that stock that they're trying to build and raise fucking drops immediately. So his next fight, and this is what you see in boxing all the time, his next fight is a business decision.
Yeah.
It's not, who do I want to fight? I just want to beat the best. And it's a business decision of, how do I keep this momentum going? How do I make sure that whatever I go into next is a big enough name, it's a big enough hype? And again, he would be better off with if he could get it, which I doubt, he'd better off with a Wilder or a Joshua, because if he loses, people are going to be like, well, these guys are the best in the world. And got fair play to Ngannou. He stepped up and fought the top three, arguably the top 3 or 4 heavyweights in the world. But he goes in against a Parker and gets smashed, all that goes away.
Yeah,
which is the age-old issue in boxing. That's why they pick and choose their fights a bit, because, like, I want this fight next, but if I take this one and lose it, all that's gone. So it's business, like you said, and I think
it's risk versus reward, isn't it? Risk versus reward.
Yeah, and that's where fans get frustrated, because they just want to see the best fights happen at the right time. But when you watch what Ngannou's done, and like you said, it appears like this overnight this has happened. It's like, well, no, I mean, what the lesson for people that are actually watching this and buying into, back yourself, just fucking go for it. It's like, yeah, but lay the foundation. Like, Ngannou didn't just overnight go, oh, I'm this random MMA guy and I'm going to fight Tyson Fury, right? He fought his whole life, amateurs, pros, wins a UFC title. Like, there was a lot of stuff he had to check off before he could start calling out Tyson Fury. So that was years in the making. The fight itself has turned him into an overnight success because of the eyes that got put on that show. But, the lesson from a business point of view is you still have to do all the hard work to get yourself in a position to then take that big step, that big leap, that big whatever it is that could fucking change your life, right? There still has to be a lot of work. And I think youngsters nowadays want to skip a lot of that stuff and go, okay, how can I create enough hype, having not really put the work in? But I want that big thing next. And I think you see that in marketing nowadays. Marketing is not what it used to be. I don't know what you think. I mean, you've been involved in marketing for years. All business is marketing, right? I was listening to this thing the other day, and we all want to separate marketing from business. It's like, no, your business is marketing. that is it. Get your head around that, because if you can't market your business, you don't really have a business. But I think that a lot of stuff in marketing has changed, into hype. Most marketing now is hype. Who can hype whatever it is they're trying to sell the best? What have you seen, like in your experience, especially over the last 10 years, from the way you maybe used to market yourself years ago? And in some case, we're still stuck in the middle. I mean, you don't go for the hype. You keep it as real as possible. I look at all your marketing stuff. But when you look at people that do similar things to you and you look at the way they market themselves, what do you see as the biggest change over the last few years when it comes to that?
I think the first thing is that, when we came through as coaches or even working with athletes or whatever, first businesses, anything, when we were early in any journey, let's say, the strive was to be the best that you could be. You kind of were like, I'm an apprentice. Now I'm newly qualified. Now I'm in it. Now I'm learning the ropes. And my big thing is to be the best that I can be. And then when I'm the best that I can be, I'm going to make loads of money. And that was, I think, the mindset that we were sort of accustomed to be around. And there's a lot to be admired here, by the way, and there's a lot that I don't like, but then there's a lot to be admired. But these lot are just like, and it was that saying as well that I heard a saying a load of times coming through. It takes 20 years to become an overnight success, and these lot are like, no, it fucking doesn't. No, it doesn't.
No, because we're competing now with 25-year-olds. I know some people that do a lot of what we do. They're in their mid-20s, and the appearances, they're fucking smashing it. And you're like, well, that can't have took them 20 years because they've had to start when they were 5. Right? It's took them a few years because of the pace of things, and again, learning how to build the hype of what their marketing is, right?
Well, they go and hire a Ferrari, don't they, or a Lambo, and then hire a villa for the weekend or whatever. There is that saying, and I think these guys do nail that. That is, what's that saying is, perception is reality. And
yes, 100%.
And they create this perception in their hype, in their marketing, that they're smashing it. Or like if I take it back to combat, I heard today, maybe yesterday, that the whole Dylan Dennis, not Jake Paul, Logan Paul thing was bollocks, and they're mates.
It could be. And this is it. I mean, well, I just saw one today, right? There was a reel of Masvidal rocked up at Jake Paul's gym and confronted him because Jake Paul had said something about him, and Masvidal's got this big hype as a ex-street fighter and and he's doing a lot of stuff where he's calling people out and talking about smashing people in the street now.
Yeah.
And yet he's just finished a court case for getting into an altercation with Colby Covington in Miami in the street.
Yeah.
But you're like, okay, this is his the next kind of invention to create something to make some more money, because clearly his MMA career is pretty much over. He's lost his last few fights, not looked great. And he's going back to his roots of, well, I'm a fucking street fighter, and you won't say this shit if you bump into me in the street and stuff. And it looks fabricated. Like I think Jake Paul, I think they're based in Miami as well. Masvidal likes to think he's king of Miami, but they fucking set this up for something further down the line. You're not telling me that Masvidal's just rocked up, because straight away, Jake Paul's bouncers are all stood there, and you're like, really?
Cameras,
all your
cameras there
around you. Yeah, I mean, if you'd have seen the size of the bouncers, like I've been in some of the world's best boxing gyms when people like Manny Pacquiao are in there, and they don't have that level of security around them.
Yeah.
Right. So Jake Paul, what do you need that level of security? You're in your own gym at your house.
Yeah.
Like, so it's hype yet again.
How did he know where it was? How did he know what time he'd be there? How did you and I both know that, boxers might be there at 9:30 on a Monday morning because they're doing training, but Tuesday they're doing sparring at 6 p.m. or whatever, so.
Yeah. But I think you just used a good word there, because, I've been trying to study, at least study what works and what doesn't work with marketing for the last 5 or 6 years, especially since having my own business. And perception is really the thing. Like you are actually selling the perception of whatever it is that you have. And I think it's hard. I watch your stuff and you've nailed this a lot better than me for your business. But again, there's that fine line of being old school to a certain degree. I look at your business. What you're selling as from a business mentoring point of view is very real, and it could be almost perceived as not the way to go because you're telling people how it is, right?
Yeah.
And again, it's a good thing, because you need both sides, right? But it's very frustrating when you're there selling the reality of running a business, especially starting a small business. And the kind of people we work with at the start, right? Although I know you work with a lot of people, very affluent business people as well, but everything you say is real. You're not selling your lifestyle. And I wouldn't sell my lifestyle, because if I actually sold the honest level of my lifestyle, people would be like, not really aspiring to that, right? It's okay. But these other guys that are selling what I would call business type mentoring are selling the perception of a lifestyle.
Yeah.
You do what I do, and you follow me, and you can have this lifestyle. You can go stay in these kind of hotels. You can have this kind of car. Look at me. I'm 26 years old, and I'm a millionaire or multimillionaire, whatever. Whether they are or not, I don't know. I think some of them probably are, and some of them are killing it because they've hit that target audience of vulnerable people that go, I will pay you, $500,000 a month or whatever to have that. And maybe in a year's time, they very quickly realize, okay, I'm not going to have that just by doing what you say. But by that point, they've made their money, and the next person's on it. It's a massive. You're working in the realm of, getting good clients, retaining them, keeping them for the long term, and really trying to mentor them over a period of years to build a solid business, because we know that's how long it really takes.
Yeah.
They're not. They're in the fucking fast in and out sales. They sign you up, they get you trapped into a year-long contract, and then they don't give a fuck, because the next person signed up and they've got a year's worth of money, because what they find it hard to get out.
Well, if you look at what they teach them, they don't teach them about coaching. They don't teach them about people. They don't teach them about, communication skills, all that kind of stuff. They teach them how to build an ad.
No.
They teach them how to create a sales funnel.
Yes.
They teach them how to use persuasive closing techniques. And there's a fine line. Yeah. And the word that springs to mind when you were speaking then is integrity. And, there's a fine line between making money and almost being a sort of legal drug dealer, and having that integrity piece there. Of course, you're absolutely right. You mentioned this a minute ago. there's been times, arguably in my career, maybe yourself in our career, where we've got our set of ways and set of values and all that, and there's been a time where we might have to modernize a little bit and come out of dinosaur world. You know what I mean? But then equally, what I won't modernize on is that actually, when I'm trying to work with a client, whether that's one client in a one-to-one environment or in a group trade program or whatever, my primary role is to help. My primary role is to help them. My primary ambition is to make sure that they do well, and kind of in business, that I think there's a lot of people that lack that integrity now, and then there's an argument, if we go back to the sport thing, that I don't know, is it people are saying, oh, these things are ruining boxing and ruining sport and all that, and again, we talked about this, but to a purist maybe it is to us, but to a bunch of kids who would have never attended boxing, they loved it.
Very differently.
Yeah, they loved it. So
I think.
Go on, you okay? Go on.
I think all I was going to say that means for us and like for yourself, and you probably feel very similar. I think also as well. I mean, these kids coming out with these types of programs, they're coming from nowhere because they're young. There's not much history on them, right? For me and you, and don't get me wrong, I've not got the biggest fucking following on Instagram at all, but I have enough close people that know me just like you do. They know your history, they know what you've done, they know where you've come from. If all of a sudden you switched your marketing up, and bear in mind, your marketing wouldn't be aimed at these people, right? Yeah. They're aimed at people that don't know you and don't know anything. But and this is where the integrity part comes in. I couldn't just switch up from the real me that I tried to sort of portray and sell to, hey, look at where I am on holiday. Look at my Lamborghini. Follow me, do all this, and you can make fucking millions of dollars. Because first of all, it would just feel so fake.
Yeah.
It isn't really me. And people know my history. So there's an element of this guy's full of shit from people that know me. Right? Yeah. Because that's not actually your life, even though, because I mean, and, for me, it just doesn't sit comfortably selling that. The things that your money and success hopefully buy, I'm a little old school to a certain degree, should be personal. I've owned a fucking Lamborghini and I didn't show it off anywhere near as much as I could have done. I could have been fucking posting me pulling up at the fucking store and doing all sorts of shit in that car, and it felt uncomfortable. Fucking love the car, don't get me wrong, but it was like, it's for me, I bought that because I wanted to tick something off a box that my lifestyle has allowed me to afford, right? But that's not, in my opinion, that is not a reason to be like, hey, follow me and do what I do. Because also it's like, well, depends how you want to look at that, right? I'm nearly 50 years old. So saying that it took me nearly 50 years to afford not even a brand new fucking Lamborghini, right? It's not in the big scope of fucking things. Is it really that impressive? It depends to who's looking. What I will say is, though, I was, at the time I got that car, I was dabbling a little bit. I'd built my website for mentoring, business mentoring, and trying to kind of, move that way a little bit to help people. And I was posting things about it, and I was posting links to my website, and wasn't really getting much traction, right?
Yeah.
I bought that car. I did a post on the car. It had fuck all to do with anything else. I got 4 inquiries.
Yeah, it's mental.
About gym business helping me, because all of a sudden they were like, oh, so it took the car, not looking at my $1 million fucking nice shiny gym and being like, wow, you must be doing right. That's a pretty fucking good gym, right? None of that got any fucking attraction whatsoever. That's actually where I make my money. But posting what you were able to do with it got a little bit of interest. And I think it was almost at that point that I was like, fuck, this is not, I could use this, but I'm not going to. I don't want to. That's not how I live my life. And I'm one of those people that this stuff can be taken away overnight. So showing off that I have all this is something you have to maintain. And as we all know in fucking business, 6 months, a year later, you could have nothing. So where the fuck do you go then, right? But these kids are coming from nowhere. They've got no history. No one knows who they are. So if you're coming new into it, and this is where I don't see it as a bad thing. If me and you were coming new into this, and we were 25 again, and we saw that was the way to, and our goal was to make money, then you're like, and people are saying, and now like our mentors wouldn't have told us to do this stuff because that's not their background. They're hustlers. They worked fucking hard. They grafted from the ground up. And I'm not saying these kids aren't hustlers. They fucking are, because they're making good money. But they're just hustling in a very different way.
Yeah,
very different, very different. And it is hype. It's hype. They're not, well, none of them ever mention or talk about really how they're going to make you a lot of money.
Yeah.
They just tell you how much they can make you and look at how much I make based on the things I have or perception of things they have, right?
Yeah.
Whereas I look at your stuff and it's very, no, business is fucking hard. What are you doing today to fucking improve your business, right? And it's a very simple, not overly complex message, but it's a true one. Because it's a daily fucking grind. And what are we fucking doing? And you repeat a lot of the same messages. It's very consistent. Of how you stay on track with a business, but it gets one of them things. It will only attract certain people, and it's not sexy, right? It's not hype. It's not what a lot of other people are doing.
Are you saying I'm not sexy?
No.
Hold on.
Not as a physical presence. We all know where that is. But I just mean, it's like selling the gym. I've always said this, like, most of us would love to be able to sell the benefits of health, right, in the gym, but we can't because it's fucking boring. It's not sexy. It's not fucking interesting. No one really gives a fuck. And yet, really, the number one reason we should all be exercising and eating well is fucking health and to live longer, right? But you try and word all that into a marketing spiel, and it's just never worked. No one's mastered that side of fitness marketing. So everyone goes the other way, right? Everyone goes for the how do you look, the six pack, because that's the trigger to get you in, and health is a byproduct of
the before and after photo. The before and after photo, mate, and
as I think that so these other marketing, the business stuff is the flip side. They're showing you now the millionaire lifestyle. And then going the opposite way, but you have to do all this to get there. They're not showing you the hard work and what you could potentially have. They're showing you that first.
Well, I mean,
the money is going to be a byproduct to following this.
Yeah, I mean, I've got to watch here, and I can't say names or anything like that because there's let's just say there's an ongoing case here. But I have an ongoing case whereby I did some work and a contract, and the feedback was that, and this was a physical gym, physical presence, and the feedback was that, and I believe that marketing, and of course you've got to, have nice shiny posters and nice shiny videos on social media and all that kind of stuff. But then equally, I believe that it's about rolling up your sleeves and going and talking to people and having integrity and having, and being the right kind of person and doing it for the right reasons, all that. And this business were just like, no, we want social media. We want social media. We want social media. And I was just like, you haven't got a fucking clue. In my mind, to wrap it, I think these hype trains, these hype jobs, in anything, it's a short-term strategy. So if you've got to make your fucking money quick and you've got to make your money big, because eventually it's going to run, not even eventually, excuse me, quite quickly, it's going to run out of steam. And, of course, we can't all be misfits boxers, but even then, if you look at the premium end of them, there's only the one or two that are getting the massive, massive money. I wonder what the undercard and all that are getting. I wonder what they're getting. But in my mind, this thing's going to run out of steam. So getting to make your money quick, and if you're that dude who's sat on a Lamborghini bonnet, selling your services and all that, showing that you're some sort of high performance guy, or you know, you buy my methods and buy my hacks, and I will fast track you to success and all this, then if you can pass your integrity test, if you can pass your mirror test with that, then good for you.
Mhm.
I'm not sure you can. I think people are deluded and blaggers, and I do, you know, I do worry about society, the mentality of society sometimes. But you know, whatever. I think there's a common thing here. You've got to deliver results, and if you deliver results, then it will gather some legs, and it will carry on. And I think if you don't deliver results in anything to do with business, marketing, in you know, anything to do with the latest theme, the latest brand, the latest thing, if the results aren't there, it will fade quickly because people's attention spans now are. I mean, the research was that the research was that you could hold someone's attention for about 6 seconds, something like that. Now they're saying that's half.
It's fucking
yeah, you know,
it's just getting less and less, right? I mean, every time I nail how long I'm supposed to do a fucking post or something for, people are like, "Oh, yeah, it's too long now." I'm like, well, how fucking short do you have to make it? I'm like, I can't even switch my phone on quick enough now to fucking, you know, press record, and it's like, yeah, that's enough. And I'm like, I've got 3 words out. So
Instagram Reels are 90 seconds, I believe. I think you get 90 seconds. What all the research and the algorithms are now saying is that your videos should be under 30 seconds. And
I've seen that.
Because whatever you're saying at the end,
Which mine never
it's irrelevant because people won't even watch it. They won't even get that.
Yeah, they're not even still. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, they're not even still looking, right?
Yeah,
it's crazy. You just got to shorten everything.
But so
you know, like I totally agree with you there. I think there's a lot of these things that are definitely not long-term business strategies, and I think looking into what these people are actually selling, which is social media marketing. Basically, they're not selling you the whole how to build. I mean, in their minds, it's like, look, you can build a multi-million-dollar business on social media. I don't disagree with that. There's a lot of people making a ton of money only using social media. But again, it depends on your business. It depends on how you're going to scale it and where you're going to go. And you know, these business people, so-called business fucking gurus, they're not actually looking at anyone's business as a whole. They're just telling you how to sell it on social media. But as you know, as a business grows and scales, there's a ton of other things that you have to kind of consider and think about. Where are you then going to get that advice from when these guys have stopped bothering with you? They give you all these sales scripts. They've given you all these ways to do your reels and all these other things. And you know, the sad thing is a lot of these people are signing up for this stuff and they want to be able to do what's asked of them, but it's not their personality. You know, I signed up to a few of these mainly to do homework. I wanted to really see what these people were trying to sell and do. And I don't know if I've talked about this on a previous podcast. I might have done. And the things they then start asking you to do just might not be your personality. And, you know, they want you to start doing, the key is to start doing vulnerability posts, do one vulnerability post a week and go into some in-depth backstory about your life to hook people in. Well, you know, and this shit works, but the bottom line is you've got 2 options with this stuff, right? You can either lie and make up a really bad backstory about yourself, because most people actually don't have a really bad backstory.
Yeah, and that's good.
Most people don't have that. Yeah, what if you don't have that? Then what? Does this stuff not work? Unless you were brought up in some sort of poverty or had some really bad thing happen to you, or you were really sick and now you know, like, what if you don't have that story? Now what's your strategy, right? Do I make it up? You know, and this has led to fucking nothing infuriates me more than someone crying into their fucking phone and doing a post about how upset they are about something. I'm like, bollocks. I'm like, if you are that upset, like, don't get me wrong, I don't fucking cry very often, but if I ever did, the last thing I'm doing is getting my fucking phone out and going, oh, this might make a really good vulnerability post, so everyone can see that I'm a real human being and I get upset too. And it's like, fuck it, is this where we've got to go? Right? Is this the only way I can get people to buy into me as an individual and a person? Because there is a big part of that. I've spoke to a lot of people about marketing, and it's like, you do have to market your personality. That is your brand, especially, even more so for you than me. Like I can hide behind hybrid a little bit if I want, whereas you are Rick Moylan. that is your business, right? You are your business. So you have to be able to put that out there, but it's like, to what level do I need to sell my soul?
Well,
Right? People either buy into what I'm talking about.
And where's the line between you marketing and being a fucking narcissist?
Exactly. It's difficult. I mean, I've like I say, I looked into a lot of these companies because I really wanted to see what they were actually doing and how they were doing it. And a lot of it was really just homework for me. And they're very smart. They're very smart. They hook you in with, if you do X, Y, and Z, you can be making X amount of money. But then the get out clauses are smart. They're smart from a legal point of view. I don't like them from a humanity point of view. So they will say, oh, we'll give you a refund. If this doesn't work, we'll give you a refund. And you're like, oh, wow, that's okay, until you read the small print. Yeah. And then the refund comes out. If you can prove beyond any sort of fucking doubt that you did every single step we asked you to do, we will give you a refund. And it didn't work, we'll give you a refund. Now that's smart, right? But at the same time, it's like, that if you want out of this, it's because it's not working. And most of the time it's not working because you're not doing all the things they ask you to do. But also all the things they ask you to do is a fucking lot. Like, they're just telling you, follow all these steps, do all these steps, put them in place, and then prove to me that it didn't work. And we'll give you your money back. Otherwise, you're tied in for 12 months. And most people get 2 or 3 months in and it's too hard. They can't do it. They realize it's not them, or some of the things that they're being asked to do regards getting their personality out. Some people are just better on videos than others, right? I'm not fucking great at that stuff. If my whole business relied on me being on camera every fucking day, it would fail. Because I'm a moody fucker, so you really get what you see on any given day, right? So, you might get a good video every once in a while where people are, oh, wow, this guy seems pretty smart. But 9 times out of 10, you're going to get the dickhead version because I'm tired and I want to have a rant. And that some people might like that. But, it's not, it's difficult. They're buying into something that I know not everyone can do.
I'm just going to throw it out there. And maybe this will make one of our highlight reels for this week. I think they're a bunch of fucking knobheads, all of them. And I have no respect whatsoever for them, both personally and professionally. And I hope they enjoy their yacht, because they're a fucking twat. That's where I'm at.
No, look, I'm with you, and like I said, I've said it many times. When I've inquired about these things, it's so scary what people are buying into, because they are going after the vulnerable. Because if you start to a certain degree, unless you're smart, most people that are falling for this, 5,000 a month, 10,000 a month, and the lifestyle and stuff or whatever, they're coming from a place of being pretty broke, and struggling.
They're in a bad place.
The business isn't working. And then they're going, well, I can help you here, but it's $500 a month, which is not nothing when you're not making any money, right? And then you're being told you've got to do all this stuff, and it's just that side of it is what bothers me, because these people don't care. Really, because what you'll find is after the initial contact, I then realized that straight away, their responses on WhatsApp, it's all AI.
Yeah,
it's not actually them talking. Because I didn't know half of this existed. I've done a load of homework on this, because I was looking for a virtual assistant at one point as well, and they were like, we can do this, we can do that, and then we have AI for messaging, because I didn't want to do cold call messaging. I'm like, I'm not doing it. You find me a way of doing it like these guys are doing it. And I didn't go down this rabbit hole in the end. And they're like, oh no, well, what we do is, the AI will get to know your voice. You'll have to write a few scripts and things, but it'll get to know you and how you talk. And then it will mimic that in all its responses to anybody inquiring. You won't have to do anything. And I did this one, and again, it was some 25, 26-year-old kid. showing off a ton of money. They look pretty successful. I looked at them because it did come through a referral from another company. And the minute I got into the back and forth on WhatsApp, this kid's calling me bro.
Yeah, I
Over
remember
and
you said
over and
this.
over
Yeah, you've said
again,
this. Yeah,
right? Yeah, and I said, hey, look, I'm, I don't want to play the fucking age card here, but stop calling me bro. I don't know you. I said, if you want me to buy into this, then, like we get taught, right? You learn to communicate with people on a level of whoever you're communicating with. I'm not going to, imagine if I start fucking calling some 75-year-old guy bro, and I've had to say it to some of my trainers because some of my trainers do it. They're calling some 40-odd-year-old guy bro. And I'm like, hey, look, does he call you? What does he call you? How does he talk to you? Mirror that, right?
Yeah.
And he didn't stop after I said stop calling me bro. And then I was like, I'm not talking to you. I find the fucking light switch went on. I'm like, I'm talking to a fucking machine.
Yeah.
This is a machine trying to now sell me, because he kept pushing on and on. Are we good to go? I'll send you the payment link now. And I've got all these questions coming back. It kind of batting them off and continuing with, I'll send you the payment link now. Let's get on this. I'm just like, hang on, I'm not talking to a fucking person here because you're not listening to a word I fucking said. And it's the scary thing is people are falling for this and dropping their money.
Mate, going away from that, somebody I know, again, not saying male, female, whatever. It's that whole vulnerability thing, and selling weight loss programs that include loads of fat burners and all that kind of stuff to really, really overweight people. Not interested. Fuck off. Absolutely go away, because I'm not poor by any stretch of imagination, and life's good and business is good and all that kind of stuff. But if that's what I had to do to make my living, then I'd rather be poor. And that's where I sit. For me, marketing should be attractive. It should be current. It should be modern. It should be all of those things, but it should have integrity with it. And I believe that a lot of this is scam, and it has no place in my world.
No. And look, I think that's almost a fucking great point to wrap up a little bit. I wasn't planning on wrapping up there, but that's that's kind of a mic drop part of really how we should all be trying to run our businesses. I think, I know, and look, businesses have got a scale. I don't expect to get the owner and the face of it on the phone immediately necessarily, but I know that if I called up to get onto your mentoring program and I asked to speak to you because it was maybe one of your assistants or whatever, but I'm like, look, where am I in my business? I need to speak to Rick. You're gonna respond. You're gonna get on and have a conversation. Whether you end up working with me personally or not is not the point. You are going to make that time and effort. And when I look at these others and you're asking, okay, what's the one-on-one communication like? What mentoring am I actually going to get on this business program? And you find out there's none. It's just a website where all the information is stored. All these videos have been done ahead of time. Any communication is AI. These guys are not even talking to you. They're not even spending any time communicating with you, other than if it's through an EDM, it's through a video, or it's they're directing you to something to look at on the site that you've signed up to, where all the mentoring information is. Now, I'm not. And again, this is modern, I guess, and maybe people don't need that human interaction and communication anymore because everything's online, courses are online. But for me personally, if I'm going to drop a ton of money, I want that human connection. I need you to understand what I'm actually trying to build and grow, and pointing me in the direction of, well, watch this video, do this, and this will help you. It's like, well, hang on, my situation's a bit more unique. What do you personally think? This is your business. Even if I'm not talking to you all the time, if I was following your program and you give me someone else and I was at a bit of a loss and I was like, hey, Rick, this is your business, your company. What do you think, I should be doing? Not that you're going to go against anyone, working on your staff as such, but you're the head guy. You're the one with the most knowledge. I would expect that person to jump on a call and be like, hey, how can we help you? right?
Yeah.
And that's not what you're going to get with this. They will run a mile before they'll speak to you. They will just misdirect you all over the place until you get sick of following the program. You know, and that's where, like you said, there's just no integrity. If I want to work with someone, and this would be my final piece of advice, try and find a real person to help you build your business. Try and find a real person that's willing to actually take the time to talk to you. They might have a big team. Don't get me wrong. You scale and you're good at what you do. You can't speak to everyone daily that's on your program, but you should be available if someone who's signed up to your program needs to talk to the fucking head guy, right? No different than my gym. You know, am I available 24/7 for every single client? No. Do I send out all the EDMs with my name on them? No. Am I the inbox? No. But if a client wanted to speak to me, I'm there. Yeah. This is my gym. You have an issue, I will sit down with you for as long as it takes to talk this through. You know, whilst my name is not on the door, it is, right? So you want to speak to me, you speak to me. I'm not going to fob you off. If an email comes direct to me, you'll get my response. I'm not going to be like, oh, I'm going to forward this to my sales guy. I'm going to forward this to my GM. It's like, no, you email me. It's my business. I will deal with this, you know? And I think that's the difference. If you sign up to these things and you're getting pushed off in every different direction, but the people that built the business, if you wanted to speak to them, then it's a big red flag. Just don't fucking bother with them. There's plenty of good people out there willing to help you, and probably willing to help you for a lot less money if you can, you know, work with the right people. I'm sure you've helped a ton of people and had people help you get to where you're at without having to drop thousands and thousands of fucking dollars. Right? I'm not saying paying for this isn't worth it, but pay the right people. Get to know someone you can trust. And if there's a charge there, you know it's worth it.
Someone who's been there and done it and can prove it.
Yeah. Interesting. So yeah, marketing 101. I don't think any of that will solve your marketing issues. If you're listening to this and you have marketing problems, that wasn't an episode on how to market and best marketing practices, but yeah, the world of marketing has changed. And I think if you are running a small business right now, my advice is you've got to move with it, but move with it at your own pace and move with it in a way that you're comfortable with. Don't just be told this marketing works and you've got to keep being this fucking, you know, chameleon split personality of, or on social media, when I sell my business, I'm this person. Yeah. And when I'm not, I'm this person. That's the beauty of your stuff. Like, I've known you for years. So nothing, and your social media stuff's great, but nothing makes me laugh more when you stood in a field with the sun glaring down on you and you're doing a post. I'm like, that's real, because you've not even thought to put some fucking sunglasses on. You know, it's like eyes are shut, you're trying to get your message. But it's real and in the moment, right? Whereas if it was planned and staged, we would have thought that through a little bit more, but it's real. You're getting Rick as he is at that moment, giving some quality advice, right? And I think, you know, try to seek that kind of help out, not the flashy, take a look at my boat, take a look at this, because no matter what person you try and follow, in my opinion, you are years from ever having that kind of money. If you're starting from nothing. You're not going to have a yacht in 2 years. Yeah. In fact, you probably never have a yacht. I'll have a toy yacht. I'll never have a fucking yacht. A dinghy.
Canoe.
We get a dinghy and shut off on canoe. That'll do. You know. But no, that was really insightful, and I love getting your opinion on this stuff, because you know you always fucking tell it as it is. So, but no, I think the biggest take home there would be build your business through some sort of personal integrity. Put that on it, because that's you. And that's what's going to help your business succeed long term, not flashy bullshit campaigns just to get people in the door that you're probably going to lose when they realize that the product and the business is not quite living up to the hype you've just gone and shown. If you can live up to the hype, by all means, fucking use hype. As
my old friend Steve Pillin used to say, you know him, you remember him from many years ago. Under promise, over deliver.
Yeah, absolutely. Cool. All right. Well, thank you for your insights. Thank you, everybody, for listening. And we will see you next week.
We'll see you soon.